As a graphic designer, some knowledge can only be obtained by multiple different years of experience. Or unless someone comes along and gives you a shortcut and tells you all about that stuff. That's where I come into the situation. So when you design something, don't just place this here or that image over there and maybe then whack some typography slap bang right here. Sure, you could actually end up with good designs now and again, but it's not an ideal situation or way to work in the long term. Instead, you should be aiming to make visual language. And after all, graphic design is basically visual communication, inherently so, as a means to sell something or inform people about something. But what do I actually mean by visual language? Now here's a perfect example by Eric Herrstorm. This design uses a bold, bright base color, and that's accompanied by a black and white. It heavily uses shape psychology of angled straight lines, modern sans serifs, and a specific style of photography and model. You could call this visual language urban or trendy, maybe even brash and a bit loud, but the visual language is there to be seen. The designer knew the target audience and he knew what kind of message to send to that target audience, and thus created a visual language around those things. So, as a designer, remember that your design is a group of assets and objects that should speak the same language, and it shouldn't be some kind of haphazard piece of work just thrown together. For the second thing amateur designers wish they knew earlier, ask yourself this. You've just clinched a new client. What's the first thing you do? Are you someone who simply slinks down into the office chair and starts designing? If that's the case, you could be doing things so much more efficiently. You see, there are maybe 5% of designers out there who can just simply start designing right away and actually make something good. But even these people would benefit from what I'm about to say right now. Instead of trying to be that 5% of naturally gifted creative geniuses when most of us aren't, try and construct a design process so you can ensure your client says yes at least 90% of the time. If you ignore the research phase of the process, when it comes to actually trying to sell your ideas or concepts to the client, you won't have much stuff to back those ideas up. Take this design example here. If the designer had a process and thoughtfully made decisions based on the brand and the audience, they could maybe say something like they chose a serif font to enforce the superior and quality aspects of the product, and also how it appeals to the demographic of the drink itself, or how the viewer is going to begin their journey at the very top with the almost golden appearance of the whiskey, to the droplets of whiskey, down to the typography, and then the product itself. They could explain the reasoning for the blue background because it complements the amber orange of the whiskey, and so on and on. In high quality professional design, there should be absolutely no shortcuts in the process. Time management is a huge factor, and this is something I wish I told myself a decade ago. In every project, before you send your designs to the client, a lot of amateurs fall into a trap. Say, for example, it's taken you 10 working hours to get to a point where the design looks around 98% finished to you. Don't spend another 10 hours on that 2%. As designers and creative people, we can often obsess with our creations and keep pushing the finishing point forwards, further and further away out of our reach. Sure, we don't want to send in unfinished work that's not complete, of course, that goes without saying. But also, we don't want to spend too long on a design. You should know when to say, hey, that's enough, the client is going to be happy with this. When you become serious with your design career, you'll realize that time is one of the most important assets that you actually have. So that remaining 2% becomes less and less important. Certainly not 10 hours important, that's for sure. A portion of those 10 hours could be better spent on another project, getting more clients, or marketing yourself online and so on. There is often a misconception that can lead some people to undesirable places as a designer. On the one hand, we have procrastination, and on the other hand, we have creative block. Some people do get these confused, but say for example you wake up and you find yourself doing just about anything apart from doing what you should be doing in your work. That probably has absolutely nothing to do with creative block, and more to do with a lack of drive on your part. Now I'm going to let you into a little secret hack I've learned when it comes to procrastination. Dopamine. Science is realizing that dopamine isn't necessarily the feel-good hormone, when actually in fact, It's more like the hormone that gives us drive and willpower to do something. These days, we are surrounded by quick dopamine fixes from smartphones, computers, TVs, and so on. We love instant gratification, but this actually kills our drive to succeed and achieve stuff. And to break away from this, you need to stop searching for those quick dopamine hits, and you want to actually get dopamine from achieving something productive. Try a social media break for a couple of days where you only use it for useful means, such as watching cool stuff right here at Satori Graphics. But if you can limit your quick dopamine hits, you will find your creativity and your drive will flourish, thus killing off procrastination and also creative block in one fell swoop. And for the next part of the video, I thought I'd tell you some quotes that are really important and really helpful when it comes to being a designer. It's not what you know, but who you know. This actually goes a long way, and it's a great idea to network and to make friends in this industry. Don't get it twisted, you're not an artist. You're someone who supplies visual communication for a secondary entity so they can capitalize and improve their situation. Design with purpose, because good design has purpose. This comes down to how every design should be functional and have a direct reasoning behind it. And if you'd like to understand or learn how amateurs think differently about typefaces, then just click that video on screen. And until next time guys, design your future today. Peace.